So I was looking for ways to make my shop more efficient, and I glanced up and saw this massive area that I could use to store some walnut or all of my plywood. And this should be a super simple project, so let's get started. I'm going to start by planing some standard pine 2x4s to get a clean new face. And at the table saw, I'll clean up both of the sides. And now I got some nice 90-degree corners. Now, taking some measurements, I got around 19 inches in height to work with. And I want to be able to fit a 4x8 sheet of plywood up there as well. So I originally marked the height at 16 inches to leave some extra room before changing it to 18, which will cause some problems later. So now I'll face the ends and make my cuts. Now I'll start on the half laps. I chose half laps because they are super simple to make and significantly increase the glue surface area. And now onto cutting the joinery. And you may be wondering why I chose this 20 cut method over just making 2 cuts. Well, it leaves me with some more chisel work, which is good for viewer retention. Alright, let's glue it up. I'm adding extra glue on the end grain as it will soak up more of the glue. I'll square it up, clamp it down, and screw it in. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now on to the other side. So onto the feet. These bolt the rest of the assembly to the ceiling, and to add a little bit of decorative flair, I'll put a chamfer on. I'll set my table saw to 45 degrees and nearly cut into my aluminum miter gauge, which would have set off the saw stop. Good thing I caught that. I moved the miter fence down and continued making the cuts. So I want to put a dado in this thing to give it a little extra strength, allowing the glue to grip onto some edge grain in contrast to the end grain, which is going to greatly increase its strength. Also cutting it a little extra wide to allow the excessive amount of glue I want to add to this joint to go somewhere. And yes, I'm soaking the end grain first, again because it will soak up a lot of the glue, reducing its strength. Even with all that play in the joint beforehand, this is now a pretty tight joint with all that glue. And again on the other side. I briefly sanded with 120 grit before moving on to a finish. And yeah, make sure you use a damp cloth to remove most of the dust. I'm using Halcyon Clear from Total Boat, not my first choice, but for this it will just keep the bugs from burrowing in. You have to use a lot of this finish for the surface area, which may make it less cost effective than Rubio Monaco. And now it's finished, so let's put it up. It didn't fit. So the 2 extra inches I added at the beginning in combination with the dado adding an inch, I had exactly 19 inches, which made it slightly too tall. Not a problem though. Using my track saw, I sliced ½ an inch off the bottom and finished the cut with a pole saw. Then I sanded it smooth and re-drilled the holes. I'm mounting the whole thing to the ceiling with some 5 1/8 lag screws. I'll counterbore these with a Forstner bit before drilling a through hole. This is an extra screw that will temporarily hold the whole thing up. It was quite a struggle holding it up and lining it up by myself, but those extra screws really helped. So now I'm pre-drilling and then driving them in. This ended up working very well and I'm pretty happy about it. So let's see if the door opens. Nope, that's not gonna work. The door arches at the top of its swing, so I'll have to move the whole thing back. Took it down, moved it over, and within 5 minutes, I put some walnut up there and tested it. No problem. Nah, just kidding. It fit with plenty of room to spare. Now I'll throw a sheet of plywood up there, and surprisingly it wasn't that difficult. Granted, it wasn't a full sheet. So take advantage of these projects for your shop and try new things when it doesn't matter. So when things do matter, you won't mess up. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and have a great day.